Hi, this is Marie for this week's Rebel Report, and I'm sitting here again with coach from Herlev Rebels, Johan.
Hey.
Hi, welcome. Well, let's talk about the last past games we had.
Okay.
We had Swans against Stallions. Swans won 16-7. Let's get a little bit into that, because actually Stallions were doing fine.
Yeah.
They were playing really well on the open field.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened? Where did it go wrong so that in the end it didn't turn out so they won over Swans?
Well, they moved the ball fairly well in the open field from what we've been all told and seen, and they had some issues with turnovers. They had a lot of those throughout the game, and they also had problems scoring in the red zone. That was a couple of big things that they had for them that gave them some issues that wound up affecting the outcome of the game for them in a favorable way.
Things they surely can work on. Like how do you see their potential?
Well, their offensive line is blocking well, and they have a pretty good run game. So I'm sure they're going to continue to build off of that, and as they adjust to the National League and the level of play that's required to play at that level. I think the game being so close gives them some confidence that they should be able to pull out a couple of wins this year. And as long as they keep staying focused and taking care of the things that they need to do to become a team at the top level in the National League. So.
And what about the Swans?
How did they do? Well, the Swans, they keep doing what they do. They have their quarterback. They keep throwing the ball on a regular basis. They acquired Kevin Nardi, who was rumored to go to the Towers, but wound up going to the Swans. He's a great player for them, and he was a Dane that was scholarshiped out of New Hampshire. And he's a guy that will make plays for him as he gets the rust off. He hasn't played in a couple of years. The last team he played for was the Stars. So, he's going to take a little bit for that. But once he starts to settle in, he's going to be a big addition for them. He's going to help their passing attack. And since people already know that they pass the ball a lot, he'll really add to their ability to get down the field and score some points for them. So I would look for the Swans to be a better team later in the year than they've been so far right now. And, they're going to grow and become a good team.
Yeah, you're already seeing some enhancement in comparison to when we played the Swans?
Sure. Since we've played them, they're playing a tougher game. They're not really losing by too many points. I mean, the Razorbacks was the one exception. For everybody else, they're playing tough, and they're right in the game until the end, and that's what you kind of need to keep your team going, and they're doing that right now. So they're taking the right steps to become a good team down the road. They just have to hang in there and keep pushing themselves and see the big picture and not lose sight of what happens in one game at a time. And there's still 7 games left to play in the regular season, so they've got some time to build.
All right, so let's have a look at the other game, the other match that was here last weekend, and it was Hurricanes winning over 89ers 31-6. Well, let's talk a little bit. I want to get into the quarterback of the Hurricanes, Søren Boone.
Okay.
He did pass very well last weekend. What else do you think? Like, he was a little bit outstanding.
Well, his success helps that team a lot. They're predominantly a run team, and with his ability to actually connect on passes gives them basically a 2-pronged attack. So any team that's able to either run or pass the ball effectively is going to have a pretty good day on the afternoon, and that's evident on what they were able to do. And they had that success against the 89ers because they could keep the 89ers off balance. Their defense struggled to maintain the integrity of what they need to be effective on the field due to the fact that they were able to balance their attack either by running or passing the ball for the Hurricanes. Also in mind was the 89ers also, when they were on the offense, they probably dropped too many balls. That was probably an issue for them to continue on carrying things for themselves and making it a little bit more of a contest. So that's something that Casper, the quarterback for the 89ers, is going to have to address, and they're going to have to work on a little bit, and I'm sure they're going to address that during the coming weeks to improve on that situation.
So let's continue talking about the game of the week, and that was Towers against Gold Diggers. And I mean, we knew it would be an exciting game, but well, the end result is Towers won 41 over Gold Diggers 16. That is anyways quite a deal, like, for the Towers. I mean, let's talk a little bit about about their highlights, about their I mean, they've really been like
on fire.
On fire.
Yeah. Well, last year they faced the Diggers and they won both games in the regular season, and they lost in the semifinal game. I think that they've learned from that. They've been having some great matches the last couple of years, and this has turned into a huge rivalry in the league, and I think that's a great thing. You know, they came out and won 41-16 in a game that people thought would have been closer. There were some issues involved with the Diggers. They went to their second-string quarterback, Sendau, who also was injured in the game. Zach Shaw was out due to an injury during practice during the week. So their status and their situation is kind of in question right now, what they're going to do with the quarterback situation. And since they're a passing-based team, that's a key element for their offense. But I'm sure that Kim and those guys will figure things out. And with the Towers, they're just going on and getting stronger and stronger. Their run game wasn't a big factor. They showed what they can do in the air by getting 4 touchdowns with JR, throwing the ball all over the place. And that, is a big factor for teams down the road to think about, because normally when you think about the Towers, you think about them being able to run the ball with Casper and Yannick Lundin and those guys pounding it down your throat. And these guys are showing that, hey, look, we're versatile enough that we can get in the air also and make plays. So if you shut us down one way, we're going to do something another way. And I think that was a big statement for the Towers and what they can do, where some people probably questioned that before. Defensively, they're getting stronger. Towers, they're playing some really good football right now. They created, 3 interceptions in the game, and they're playing really a stout defense. So I think that when you look at the two, they're still top teams in the league. It's just that they're building on where they're at. And right now I think there's a little bit of a question mark with the Diggers, and I think the Towers are really trying to exercise themselves as being the top team in the league over everybody. And I think
exactly. I mean, I was just about to ask, like, what can we expect from that team? Because they just don't seem to stop until they really get there, to the top. I mean, they really, really do improve all the time, and they show. I mean, they're always there, 100%, and they show what they can do.
They're looking. I'd seen them play against the Oslo Vikings early in the year, and I thought that there were some questions about them. I thought that I could see that I was wondering, but they're starting to really clean out those issues, and they're really starting to really perform. And you can see it each week when they played the Tigers the week before. They played a solid game. People might say, well, they could have scored more points, but they didn't need to. They did what they needed to do to win the game and be productive, and they showed that they controlled that game. And they showed again this week against the Diggers that they controlled that game. And in the beginning it was a good struggle, but they started to pull away. So I think the big question is for them to stay focused, stay away from the injury bug, and to see what happens and taking it week by week. And if they continue, they're probably going to be one of the teams to look for to be there at the end, possibly. They're strong.
we have Demons versus Swans. Where do you see that game going?
Well, you know, the Swans have shown themselves that they're a passing team, so I would make no difference in thinking that they're going to pass. And with the addition of Kevin Hardy, he's going to get another game under his belt, so that's going to help their passing attack. The Demons, there's a little bit of a question for them. You know, their Danish quarterback, Nexman, has been injured, so we're not really sure of his status. And they have an Italian quarterback who hasn't really been around very much. So I could see that being an issue for them. But they're a team that runs a triple option, so they're gonna, if you're not prepared for that, they're gonna get yards and they're gonna get some points on you. And so that's a really big question: is how the Swans defense handles the Demons offense. And if they can handle that, then I think that the Demons should be just fine and they can win the day. But if they don't, you know, it's going to go the other way around. So I think that it just really depends.
All right, and above that we have 2 more games coming up. We have Stallions versus Diggers.
Okay.
Well, that is quite a match, I'd say. Okay, we have had the last game with the Diggers, and they are in some kind of situation. But Stallions is a completely new team in the league, so it's just like it's one of the top teams confronting a really new, fresh, young team.
Right. Yeah, I think you know, given the quarterback situation for the Diggers, I don't think that that's really going to be a big issue for them in this game. They'll be able to pass the ball around and get down the field and score and move, no matter what they do. Standout, I don't believe is too badly injured because he did finish the game against the Towers. So I believe that at the very least I'll have him. So there's some question marks on that, but other than that, I believe that the Diggers are going to win the day pretty easily. Just the Steins aren't ready for that type of offense that they run at the speed at which they run it. So they're going to have some issues with that, I think.
Definitely. I mean, that's also what I would say. But I mean, if we put ourselves in the position of the Stallions, what would you recommend? With what aim should they go into that game? Like,
well, I think any team that's as explosive as the Gold Diggers are, the best thing to do is try to keep them off the field as long as you can and keep the game as close as you can, so you can hopefully, you know, and for lack of a word, it's a steal a win. If you can keep the points down and keep it close, then you can actually maybe make it a game and maybe frustrate the Gold Diggers. That would probably be their best game plan, I would think, to have any type of real success. But if they let their offense get on the field on a regular basis, it'll be a long afternoon for the Steins.
And last but not least, we have Towers versus Hurricanes.
Okay. Well, the Hurricanes just came off a win, and so they're feeling pretty good about themselves. So that's a good thing. And Towers just came off a big win for them. So the only thing I would wonder for the Towers is the next game hangover. You know, if they just take that team lightly, that could be an issue for them. But if they don't, I think that they'll have a pretty solid day against them. They both run the ball normally on a regular basis. You know, the Towers' passing attack is probably better than the Hurricanes' passing attack. So I would think that would be a huge edge for them if they needed to do it. So yeah, as long as they don't have, you know, a big game hangover, I think the Towers will probably do just fine against the Hurricanes.
All right, as you can see, we have a lot of things to expect, but yet anything can happen. So stay with us, and yeah, we see each other again to the post-game wrap-ups.